what is the implication in your mind? Like, what are you thinking? You're like, oh.
Oh, dude, this is great, man. This is awesome. What do the Destiny fans have to say about this? They're probably just like, oh, dude, you're taking him out of context. He didn't mean it. He was just joking. What is this?
Palestinians don't have like some national autonomy or authority there. They were just a state within the Ottoman Empire, and like those ethnic people were just roughly allowed to live there. Do you have any idea as to how this mess will end? My guess is Israel is going to attack the Gaza Strip. There's probably going to be a fair amount of damage and deaths, and in 3 weeks, maybe, or 2 weeks, all of us are going to forget about this and move on to the next thing. People are conflating the baby with the 40.
Damn, he did such a... Wait, what? He was so right, dude.
And in 3 weeks, maybe, or 2 weeks, all of us are going to forget about this and move on to the next thing. People are conflating the baby with the 40 babies, and it's not like every single baby was... Why can't these other Arab states take in their brothers? Where are our Arab brothers and sisters?
Why do we care about this loser? I would say that he's probably one of the more prominent pro-Israel voices in general, especially online. Obviously, he's not one of the most prominent voices for Israel on mainstream media, but he definitely is. An orbiter yesterday was crying about your gun tweet and was having a hard time ignoring Bonarelli saying that he is pro-genocide. He pretty much came with her son, wasn't joking, even though you said it was a joke and Bonarelli really was joking. Yeah, I know.
Sisters to host their other brothers and sisters. Shabir posted AI content of Israeli babies, claiming it was real. That is not true. Those pictures were real. Anybody claiming that it's AI babies is lying. That is not true. Yeah, I don't know. I should look into this. I should do, once I get home, well, I hope it's still somewhat relevant so we can like research it. I don't think anybody in the Middle East really likes Palestinians. They seem to be pretty insane anywhere they go. They're not going to annex Gaza. That's not going to happen.
Okay. Well, be careful. We don't want to have you having a Hassan moment.
I'll stake a big claim on that. There is no shot that they annex it. If they did annex it, it would only be after a massive ethnic cleansing of Gazans out of the...
I like that they call it a Hassan moment in that community. When you, like, he literally has a sequence of false predictions on a daily basis, but it's like everybody always talks about the Russia will not invade Ukraine moment. That's literally at this point years ago, something that I immediately, the side that is always wrong, as long as they're always wrong, but along with America's State Department, can always consistently get things wrong. It does not matter. But if you are against American propaganda, if you are against the American State Department's actions, if you're against American imperialism, the one prediction you get wrong, even if your analysis on it was sound, even if you were literally channeling what Zelensky was saying, it doesn't matter. They will repeat it all the time because you have to remember. I like how you're so chill about this. I didn't know there was major beef until I met a D fan IRL and he was unhinged and talking shit on you. I never really heard about you talk about D until these last few months. Yes, I did not talk about Divorcelli until the Israel. Okay, that's it. And in the beginning of October 7, I even said that as long as you are pro-Palestinian emancipation, I think that it's fine. You're on the right side of history. I even gave props to Goblin lover Vosh for his consistent defense of Palestinians. I don't know where he is at now or what he believes now. I said the same for, Horse Goblin. Said the same for Boner Box too. I don't give a shit about this weirdo's orbiters as long as they are pro-Palestinian and pro-Palestinian emancipation. That's what I care about. That's all I care about on this issue. It is wild though that like, yeah, IRL in real life, his fans are also bringing that exact same level of intensity to conversation to be like, I hate this random dude online on Twitter. This dude has despised me and stalked my ass with this rabid ass community for the past 5 years and has every step of the way tried to make my life miserable. And even I don't talk about him in the real world. You know what I mean? Why the would I ever bring him up? And I didn't for years. The only reason why I do now is because of this Israel Defense Brigade shit that he does on a genuine, on a regular basis. A lot easier to appear reasonable and kind when you don't have to confront your moral position every time something awful happens.
Gazan territory into Egypt or into the sea. Bro, you have an optics issue. I have an optics issue for cards, okay? You can watch anything I've said on this, or you can engage with any level of what I've said on this. You can argue that I have a quote-unquote optics issue, the same way that Palestinians have an issue that their bodies are... Hold on, I almost made an unhinged comment. There weren't like a group of people there that were like, we are the state of Palestine, or there was some territory recognized as Palestine or whatever prior to the British mandate of Palestine. Israel doesn't have radical terrorist factions as part of its state or government. Yeah, everybody has been on the, like... team of no ethnic cleansing. Like, well, yeah, this isn't novel. Yeah, no.
Yeah, except he wasn't.
See, look, he's got the Destiny take. Ethnically cleansing isn't always bad.
Illegal settlements is not the threshold. I just don't know what the threshold would be.
It would probably be an excess number of civilian casualties. 10,000 feels bad. 20,000 feels bad. 30,000 feels bad. If like more than like 20, 30, 40,000 people... Yeah, I think that would be really, really, really bad for Israel. Once this particular incursion into the Gaza Strip stops, I think everybody goes back to not giving a fuck again. That's my guess. A Palestinian identity is a myth. The idea that there's some Palestinian national identity prior to 48 is bull. Destiny, do you believe that Biden continuing to support the war effort is in his best interest for re-election? Yes, Israel's unbelievably popular with...
His talking points are so easy to deflect. It's insane that people look to him as a source of intelligence. It's because his talking points might be easy to deflect, but debates, and I've repeated this over and over again, debates are not done for the truth, for arriving at the truth. Debates are conducted by those who are good at rhetoric. So most people that try to address any of the things that he's saying, especially in a real-time conversation, are going to end up getting yelled at quite a bit, and then also humiliated by his fan base that will never let go. His fan base are like a bunch of pit bulls to a baby, okay? They are piranhas. They'll swarm you. They'll literally clip shit permanently out of context. They will go after your friends. They will go after those you collaborate with. And they will consistently keep doing this over and over again because they basically are the exact same people that used to operate this way during the peak of the alt-right. Destiny debated a lot of alt-right dipshits and converted them to not being like liberals or progressives really, but just Destiny fans. And they never actually let go of the blood sport that they loved. They never actually let go of the attitudes that they had. They never let go of their resentment. They never examined their worldview. They never really changed anything. They just said, yeah, I was an edgelord nihilist who called himself maybe a neo-Nazi. Now I'm an edgelord nihilist who calls himself a liberal, a Brandon supporter, a neoliberal, if you will. You know, pick whatever you want to pick. It doesn't matter because the real fun here is the toxicity, is the drama, is the cyber stalking, and it's the community memes that you cultivate off of on those who are in the out group. It's actually pretty simple. That's it. That's basically all that is going on here. You know what I mean? Did you really just like see? They're here. They will always show themselves as well, by the way. They love lolcowing and they love debating, which is precisely the reason why they don't really have a lot of friends in the real world, because nobody wants to be around a dude who's like constantly chirping about every single issue non-stop, which is why I try to urge you guys in this community to consistently not be that person either, because I think it's like really lame. Because as soon as I respond to this person and say, listen, brother, we know what his opinion is, there is no context that will, that will make this look good. He is in support of Israel's actions in Palestine against the Palestinian population. He will move on to the next thing that I mentioned or something else. He will never address the point. A content creator that I really like that used to cover the tactics in which the alt-right operate fairly well is what's that guy? He did like all of those he did all those like videos. What was his name? You clocked them so quick. They have logs about Destiny back from 2019 and have debate lorded you recently. Of course I did. Alt-right playbook from Innuendo Studios. Exactly. The alt-right playbook from Innuendo Studios is actually pretty good, because if you go through their entire alt-right playbook, you will realize like, oh my God, that's exactly what they do. That's it. Those are the tactics. The tactics have never changed. And the position for why, like the reason for why those tactics even exist is because it's for fun. These guys are not genuinely morally interested in it. There might be some people who are morally invested in, like, I guess, Israel doing ethnic cleansing. But ultimately, the real reason is drama and debate and toxicity and whatever Divorcelli chooses as his next target, they'll grab onto, and they'll intercept communities, and they'll act like they've been there and act like they've been fans for years. Like they basically are, I would say, a more presentable version of like Ice Poseidon's fan base. Like it's the same kind of weaponization of autism, but at least these guys understand the room a little bit better. They will, however, still come across like unhinged weirdos if you start asking them about what they feel about incest or age of consent or whatever. But they know at least how to present themselves. Like they know how to say like, oh, I'm just curious.
Most American voters, of course. You have to acknowledge that the Palestinian people want violence. Not Hamas, not the PLO, and not just the terrorists, but Palestinians en masse think that fighting will serve their end. That thought needs to be wiped out. I'm sorry, but no offense, Iran's lost, okay? I'm sorry, they are the losers of the Middle East. Everybody looks at them, everybody laughs. They try to mine the sea to the south of them. They try to shoot shit into Saudi Arabia. But Iran, the Ayatollah is such a loser. Even the people in Iran hate the government, okay?
Sodas were not allowed in. Cookies were not allowed in. Can you explain to me what threat cookies pose to Israel from your perspective?
Well, if they're the Kilo Elf ones, it's like 200 calories a cookie, so maybe they just didn't want people getting fat. Are the people in Gaza being starved? When that population has exploded, one of the highest birth rates in the past 2 decades, I don't understand how they could sustain it if they didn't have food. Why did Israel ban potato chips, cookies, Gaza Strip?
Oh, wait, he Googled it, dude. He's going to Google a talking point real quick, bro. Just wait.
I read the ICJ opinion, and they didn't say to stop doing X. They just said, be careful.
No weapons, just murked from a drone.
Yeah, I would say these guys are almost certainly Hamas. Footage being real doesn't mean you're not being manipulated. For instance, the Flower Massacre. That's not fake, but it's staged. Look at all these cameramen. This is film. This.
He's doing pallywood. Bro, you're not even Israeli. What's happening? Bro's talking like a settler, dude. How did this happen? Like, I don't hear about pallywood from anyone that is not directly like an Israeli ultranationalist. That's shocking. Pallywood is the conspiracy theory that is laughable to anyone with a brain that only the most psychopathic far-right Israelis believe in, that they claim, well, I mean, or not believe in, but at least have the audacity to openly say. Normal Israelis also do believe in pallywood, but I'm saying like most of them at least know better to just like not openly state that this is this is completely made up. Pallywood, for those of you who don't know, is the idea that Israel actually isn't doing any genocide whatsoever or never really killing Palestinians. But as a matter of fact, Palestinians are just doing makeup and faking the death. And honestly, outside of Germans, I've never seen somebody in the West who has no connection to Israel whatsoever repeat the pallywood statements like this. Yeah, it is like akin to Holocaust denial. Yes.
This is cinema. This is kino. If anything, people screaming for help might carry more evidence that it's a terrorist than not. What is the implication in your mind? Like, what are you thinking? You're like, oh.
Oh, dude, this is great, man. This is awesome. What do the Destiny fans have to say about this? They're probably just like, oh, dude, you're taking him out of context. He didn't mean it. He was just joking when he says people screaming for help actually is more likely that they're terrorists is a bar for sure.
Okay, the commanders in Israel today are like, all right, here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to intentionally target this convoy of humanitarian aid. We're going to all of them. And then we'll just like publish a statement later today. And it'll be epic and hilarious. Like, I'm going to turn the whole world against me. We're going to foreign nationals for the lulz. What a retarded statement. Like, even Russia wouldn't do something that. Nobody operates in this way. It's so stupid. It's so patently obviously like if you think this, you're a child and your whole.
It's on your idiot. D's gonna pull out a real good Google search to show you down. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not gonna lie. Nice clip chimping. Listen to his context, bro. What context? The context is him defending Israel. Is he not defending Israel? Like, you can't pick this apart. This is him defending the World Central Kitchen bombings that the entire global community recognized as completely unjustifiable, that Israel itself said oopsie on. Like, what do you mean? Is he saying, just kidding, this is what I would say if I was a genocidal asshole after the very second that clip ends? Because that's the only time where this would be out of context. Haha, just kidding. If I was a genocidal monster demonstrating how oblivious I am to the inhumanity presented by the horrifying videos that are coming out of Gaza, this is what I would say. He straight up in the previous one was talking about the flower massacre being Kino. It is real, but it's still like cameras are presented. He's undermining the severity of the Israeli actions. Like, that's it.
Approach to the conflict is childlike. I don't know if there needs to be another occupation. I don't know if they just need another government. I don't know if there needs to be like a different Palestinian administrator, but the what exists right now just can't be. It just can't be. I don't know. It's wholly unacceptable.
You guys have an encyclopedia worthy paste bin of like everything that I say that is like clipped out of context or clipped in a way that it like is to show the absolute worst possible positions that I do not have. So go ahead, give me the context to any number of things that he's actually saying here. I'm sure you have his opinion locked and ready to go in the chamber too. He's so close to saying Palestinians need to die. Bro, he has said that. That was his starting position. His starting position on October 7, I think, was literally, yes, a genocide needs to happen, lol. And then he spent the next couple of months scouring Wikipedia to engage in post hoc rationalizations for why this is actually permissible. Everything that Israel is doing is good. He literally started there and worked backwards, which is something that he hates the most because a lot of people do that. And he says, I do that all the time. But when he does it in broad daylight, his audience might even get mad at him for it. You know what I mean? So he desperately tries to act like, no, I'm learning. I'm just learning. You hate learning. It's like, no, dumbass. We're not saying you hate learning. We're not making fun of you for learning. We're making fun of you for being completely oblivious to the reality and playing catch up.
Mr. Bennell, don't change the subject. If you don't know what you're talking about, at least have the humility. You talk about chapter 6. You don't know chapter 6. How close has 242 gotten to the Palestinians' peace? From tweet 5. You have no idea what you're talking about. It's just so embarrassing. At least have some humility. Between us, we've read maybe 10,000 books on the topic, and you've read 2 Wikipedia entries, and you start talking about chapter 6. Do you know what chapter 7 is?
And still, of course, because your starting position is unshakable here, because you're the permanent contrarian, you're doing a very shitty job at defending genocide, which is already hard to begin with. Why are we shitting on looking up facts? Oh, he's being disingenuous. Yes, dude. Yes, using Wikipedia is okay. That's not the point here. It's so funny how quickly you get captivated by this like talking point where you're like, oh, I guess these people are on research. No, dude, wiki research is just a catch-all term. When I talk about wiki research lol, what I'm not talking about is like trying to genuinely learn what is going on by scouring Wikipedia. What I'm shitting on is having a position that is pro-Israeli, genociding Palestinian people, and then trying to play catch-up against people who have been literally writing books on the matter since before he was born. And here it is. There you go. Thank you. If you want context, he says bombing the kitchen crew was bad. Oh, dude, that's awesome. Thank God he said bombing the kitchen crew was bad. But to say Israel deliberately bombed knowing them, they were just feeding Palestinians, so you went on a 5-minute rant when you both agree it was a bad thing to happen just so you think that Jews were just looking for blood of innocence? Yeah, dude, that's what I said. You're right. Yeah, you definitely did a really good job of reframing my argument in the most charitable, most favorable way possible, even though I've, spent hours talking about it. No, my friend, my position on this is that the organized chaos that seemingly is disorganized on the ground is deliberate, okay? It's called kill zones. That is precisely what Israel is doing, so that their units that have already been operating without any kind of serious top-down scrutiny will continue doing these incredibly violent things. And the evidence I use for that is the 200 aid workers that they killed prior to the World Central Kitchen aid workers. There have been many instances where deconfliction has not saved the lives of aid workers, whether it be the Palestinian Red Crescent, whether it be ANIRA aid workers, whether it be any number of UNRWA aid workers that are working to feed Palestinians, because Israel wants to do ethnic cleansing. That's the overarching goal here. And they've said it time and time again, and that's precisely what the ICJ court case is about. So I don't know why you are against, I don't know why you are against even liberals who are Zionists themselves, like Jose Andres, the founder of World Central Kitchen, who also said Israel deliberately targeted his convoy. They've killed 200 aid workers prior to this. Most of those aid workers also were, there working with round-the-clock communication with the IDF. You can't do that without communicating with the IDF. You can't move convoys without prior knowledge from the IDF, and they still get lasered. How does that happen? It happens because it's a kill zone. The goal is to starve out the population. The goal is to kill as many people as possible and their allies. I've seen this man defend BLM. I don't know what? I've seen this man defend BLM. I don't understand how he supports Israel, like how that happened. Bro, I don't know if you know this, but the reason why he got banned from this website, at least on one of these instances, was because he very famously said that he wants white supremacists to run over Black Lives Matter protesters. This is what happens. This is what happens when you only see people with TikTok clips where they're popping off.
I don't know, the Palestinian governments and the leaders have just sucked. They need like their Sadat or their Nelson Mandela. For as much as they obsess with comparing themselves to Africa, they need a Nelson Mandela figure, somebody that really wants to come out and make brave, strong steps, and not just some loser that wants to get rich and enjoy getting fucked off by his population for making...
Yeah, brave, strong steps. It's crazy. Israel does keep killing their Nelson Mandelas like regularly or jails them, but
making good speeches. The international support for the Palestinians.
It is ironic when talking about Nelson Mandela, who very famously was pro-Palestinian emancipation, who called Israel a genocidal apartheid state, who also was jailed for decades over his refusal to condemn violent actions against the apartheid, the South African apartheid. But it's so easy to capture people. It's so easy to capture an audience that doesn't really know the full context. If you don't understand that Nelson Mandela, for example, was on the terror watch list until 2008, on the U.S. terror watch list until 2008, long after he had been released from prison, long after the apartheid had been successfully abolished in South Africa, and what the reasons for why the U.S. placed him on the terror watch list were due to his violent resistance against South Africa's apartheid regime, why he was jailed. Stop spreading misinformation. Everybody knows Mandela was arrested and jailed for being a communism. Yeah, good one. You can make an argument like this. You can make an argument like that because many people in your audience doesn't know either. So my anger is twofold in the situation, obviously. One, I'm running the ad break now, by the way. My anger is twofold. On the one hand, I'm angry because I disagree with him and he is like defending a genocidal apartheid regime, obviously. But the other anger I have is that for a person who presents themselves as the arbiter of truth, a beacon of morality, a beacon of like intellectual curiosity, he's actually making his fans dumber by feeding them a reliable narrative, by creating, ironically enough, an echo chamber. Now, his fans will say, oh, dude, he dukes it out with like people who oppose his opinions all the time. Yeah, he does. Except those intellectual sparring moments are not actually with the ultimate goal of arriving at the truth. There are very few moments where he will go up against someone who is infinitely more educated than him on the matter. And sometimes he shows them restraint and respect, like Mark Lamont Hill. And then it basically turns into a lecture. But ultimately, when he's in a contentious conversation with the likes of someone who is infinitely more knowledgeable than him, like Norm Finkelstein, he looks like a dumbass. I just really do wish, I really hope that one day, at least some people in his community will be like, maybe I've been misled, okay? Maybe I've been misled. I should be a little bit more intellectually curious. Because that's it. No, don't say, nah, they're too stupid. That's wrong. I will not be like, oh yeah, no, they're too far gone. I think that's already happening to a degree. I do see more people pushing back on him online. No, those are people that aren't fans of his. Those are people in the out group being like, who the is this guy? The more prominent he becomes by doing these debates, the more people are like, what the is this dude about? And then they look into it a little bit and they're like, oh, gross. But I do believe personally that there are people that may have, signed up thinking like, well, this guy dukes it out with right wingers a lot. And seemingly he's like a smart dude. He looks like an intellectual giant against a dude who's like advocating to beat your wife or whatever. and he pops off on a moment like that, there are fans that come in because of that, because they also despise the red pill bullshit like we do, and they think that he might be a progressive person who may believe what he has to say about Israel and may tap in and start repeating some of those talking points. But I do ultimately believe that many of them, if they are even a little bit intellectually curious, will see the truth about the matter. That's it.